chances are you've either put go to the gym or work out on your New Year's resolution list, and either you've already quit or you never got started in the first place, and you're beating yourself up because this is not the first year that this was on your list, and this is not the first year that you didn't follow through. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're not broken, you're not lazy, and you're certainly not alone. As someone who's been working out consistently for years now, I didn't always start that way. When I first started out, I didn't want to go to the gym. I was extremely anxious about it. I started and stopped a million times, and even years into my journey now, I still hit roadblocks. I still get anxious going to the gym. I still have days where I don't want to go. I still have days where I struggle with consistency or I don't know what I'm doing. But along the way, I have found that there are some things that either helped me get started in the first place or have helped keep me consistent along the way. And I'm going to help you today. I'm going to give those to you because honestly, my friend, you are capable as fuck, and I want to see you succeed. And this is going to be the year that you succeed. This is going to be the year that you actually get into the gym and you actually stick to it. Not just for a couple of months, but for the long haul. Because honestly, going to the gym consistently has changed my life in so many ways for the better. And I want the same for you. I want you to be able to experience the same benefits that myself and so many other people have. And I know that it can seem like this really impossible, really hard thing to tackle, but it's not. It's not as hard as you think it is, and I think oftentimes we overcomplicate it. So the tips I'm going to give you today are going to make it feel a lot more approachable and a lot easier for you to take on, okay? You've got this. We're going to get in the gym, and we're going to make it stick for real, for real. 2026 is your year, okay? Stay tuned. Welcome to the Mindset Gym podcast, where we exercise your way of thinking to help unlock your hidden potential. I'm your host, Emily Irwin, a registered nurse and holistic nutritionist with a passion for all things health, fitness, and personal development. All right, let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to the Mindset Gym podcast. Thanks for tuning in today. We're talking about tips to get your butt in the gym and actually stay there and actually make it work long term, because I know you can. I know you're capable. I know you've got it in you. And I know you're maybe beating yourself up if you're in the boat of someone who has put this on their resolution list several years in a row, or you've had this in the back of your head as something that you've wanted to do. And maybe you've tried to do it and you haven't stuck to it, or you've never really been able to get started in the first place. I'm going to give you some simple tips today to make it a lot more approachable so that you can actually do this for real, okay? You can actually get into this and you can actually start and stick to it over the long term. And we're going to kick things off with maybe my favorite piece of advice as it relates to the gym, and that is focus on consistency first. Oftentimes when we make new fitness goals or we want to get into the gym for the first time, there is usually a catalyst to us wanting to do that. Maybe it is us stepping on the scale for the first time in a really long time, or looking in the mirror, or trying to get dressed to go out for a night out and realizing that you just really don't like the way that you look. Or maybe you've gone and had to do some sort of physical endeavor and you've realized that you're actually a lot less in shape than you used to be. And you start to panic a little bit about your physical well-being. And there's this common phenomenon of people getting this burst of motivation to make change and wanting to redo their habits and get into fitness and get into the gym and do all these things. And you try to throw everything but the kitchen sink at it all at once because you're motivated and you're ready and you want to make a change and you hate where you are right now. And so you're going to do everything. You're going to go. You're going to do it 7 days a week. You're going to do this perfect workout split that you saw online because it's the best thing to help you lose weight. You're going to do all the things. You're going to overhaul your diet. Stop. Stop right there. I understand the motivation to want to do this right away. When you are in a place that you really don't like either what you look like or how your body feels or how your body moves, that sucks. That feels really shitty. I've been there. I understand that. And I think when you hit this kind of like catalyst, rock bottom, game-changing kind of moment, there's this overwhelming feeling of not wanting to be where you are, and you want to do everything you can to get out of that as quickly as possible. And I get it. We don't like feeling shitty. We don't like feeling uncomfortable. And I think once all those feelings really bubble to the surface, we want to run away from it as fast as we can. And our thought is that the way to do that is to do all of the things all at once, super intensely. And that's just not the right approach. I want you to focus on consistency first. And it's going to look a lot different than you think. It's not going to look like this crazy, intense, perfect workout. It's not going to look like you going in the gym and working your ass off for an hour or changing your entire diet right away. I don't want you to do that. It could be as simple as you just driving to the gym parking lot, sitting there for 5 minutes and going home, and then doing the same thing the next day. And I know you're probably thinking, Emily, that's stupid. Me sitting in my car in the gym parking lot is not going to help me lose weight. Hear me out. You are building the habit of consistency. That's what you're doing. That is what you're doing right now. We have to start by laying the foundation, because if you don't have that foundation of consistency, you sticking to anything else is going to be much harder. I like the analogy as it relates to this of someone who puts a small amount of water on a plant every day for a long period of time versus someone who takes a giant bucket of water and just drowns the plant in it right away. Which plant do you think is going to thrive more over the long term? It's not the one that got drowned in a lot of water, is it? And I think when we hear that analogy, it's very obvious in that particular scenario that small amounts of consistency over time yield better results than large bursts of intensity done here and there. But we often fail to apply that to our own habit changes. So that's what I want you to focus on first. Right now, early on, if you've never been in the gym, if you've never worked out consistently, that's the only goal right now. That's the only thing I want you to focus on building. The first part of this year, the only thing you're working on building is consistency. Just go there and do something. Sit in your car, go in, walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just focus on building the habit of showing up. The next one, and this ties a little bit into the habit of consistency, and this is the fact that it's not going to look perfect. Your fitness journey is not going to look the same as the fitness journey of the person you see on Instagram who's been at this for decades. It's just not. It's just not. That's not what your workout plan's not going to look like initially. That's not something that you can stick to. That's not even something you should attempt, because honestly, you'll probably hurt yourself if you've never worked out or you haven't worked out in years. It's not going to look perfect right away. Go in there and just be willing to do something. Be willing to have it look messy. Be willing to have it not look organized. When I first started going to the gym consistently, I was not doing the routine that I'm doing now. I was going in there and I was just doing cardio. I was literally just going in and sometimes spending long amounts of time on one cardio machine. My routine back then looked very different than it does now. And I've talked about it in previous episodes. There were a lot of reasons why my routine looked like that, but one of the reasons, and this is actually something you can put into practice, is because I was so freaking nervous. I was so nervous. I was so anxious going into the gym. It can be a really intimidating space if you haven't been in there before. And so going in and spending a bunch of time on a cardio machine actually gave me a way to kind of suss out the facility and get my bearings of the environment without wandering around like a lost puppy. So if you are new to a gym and you're not really sure where to go, you're not really sure where things are, you're not really sure what you want to do, that's a good way to start off. And so that brings me to my third piece of advice. Suss out the facility in a way that's comfortable for you. And there's a few ways to do this. So you can do, like I just mentioned, get on a cardio machine and just, walk on the treadmill while you get your bearings. That's totally fine. Or go around, come in, with your street clothes on so it looks like you're not there to work out, and just walk around and get your bearings. You can have just an explore session. You don't have to actually work out right away. Just go and, get a feel for the place. Most gyms, if you go in before buying a membership, will give you a free tour. So you can just ask at the desk for them to show you around, and they will walk you through the entire facility and tell you where things are and what you can use them for. And if you want to get a kind of lay of the land and make your plan ahead of time, feel free to take videos, take pictures of what your surroundings look like, so you can look at them when you get home and really get your bearings of the place and figure out the plan of what you want to do. Which then brings me to number 4, and that is have a plan. Have a plan. Even if it is just to go in and do 5 minutes on a cardio machine and leave, that's okay. But have a plan ahead of time. Have some sort of structure for how you're going to spend your workout when you go in there, because it's too many decisions. When you go into the gym without a plan and you get in that room and there's a million machines and there's a million sets of dumbbells and there's a million treadmills and people all over the place, it's overwhelming. It's too much. It's too stressful to try and figure out what you're supposed to be doing on the spot. And chances are you will cut your workout short, or you just won't do it at all because it's too many decisions and it's too much stress. So I want you to plan ahead of time what you're going to do. And I have a few things to help you do this. So obviously, if you are looking for really personalized, really structured support on what sort of routine you should be doing, it can be extremely helpful to hire a personal trainer to help you with this. Having said that, I recognize that we are not all made of money, and I don't know about you, but early on in my fitness journey, there was no effing way I was spending a ton of money on a personal trainer. I just wasn't. I was in university, I didn't have that kind of money to spend, I just was not willing to invest that kind of money in my fitness journey for this thing that I was really not familiar with. So I'm going to give you a free route to take, because I know back then the free route was the only route I was going to be willing to take. So this is what I would do now with the resources that we have available to figure out what I'm going to do and to help gain some comfort with it ahead of time. I want you to go to ChatGPT and I want you to put in these prompts. The first one, what your goals are. Whether it's losing weight, improving your flexibility, building muscle. If you wanted to build muscle, are you looking to gain hypertrophy? Are you looking to gain strength? Is there certain body parts that you're looking to improve on specifically? I want you to put in what your current fitness level is, your weight, your height, what your current activity is like, last time you worked out, any injuries that you're dealing with. I want you to put in how many days a week you're wanting to work out, and be realistic. Don't put in 5 days a week if 5 days a week is not sustainable for you. I want you to put in something that you actually think you're going to stick to long term. So be honest with yourself in this moment. Be brutally honest. What are you going to be able to stick to on your busiest, most stressful, most shitty weeks? That's what you put in, okay? If you're trying to figure out what's doable for you over the long term, figure out what you can do on your worst week and go from there, right? So anyways, put in how many days a week you're wanting to work out, put in how much time you're wanting each of your workouts to be, put in how many exercises you want to do per workout, and depending on the gym that you're looking to go to, you could maybe put in some prompts about what kind of equipment they do or don't have. And then ask it to give you an entire workout split. It will literally break down the entire thing for you. I did this recently after injuring my back when I was trying to figure out how I could keep showing up to the gym without aggravating this injury, and it gave me a really detailed, really structured workout plan. So this is a really great place for you to start. If you have no idea what you're supposed to do, but you're wanting to start some sort of routine, this is an awesome place to start. And I think it's a great place to start because you can give it so much information and it can give you something that's kind of personalized to you. I would not recommend you copy the fitness routines of people you see online, and for 2 reasons. Number 1, like I said, a lot of the fitness influencers that you see online have been at this for decades, and their fitness routine is probably not appropriate for you. The second reason is that a lot of the fitness routines you see from big influencers online are sometimes there because they're viral. People are sometimes posting those routines because those are the ones that get the views and those are the ones that get the engagement. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best ones for anybody to be doing. Sometimes they're just the most flashy ones to be put on social media. Because honestly, the truth is, some of the most effective workouts over the long term are actually kind of boring. Like, they're actually pretty basic, they're actually pretty repetitive, and that's not flashy. That doesn't get a lot of engagement online. So you actually may not see a ton of that if you're looking to get your workout from social media. So I wouldn't recommend that you go there. And I know that's funny advice from someone who posts a lot of fitness content, but it's honest. I wouldn't go there for your routine, especially not when you're starting out. You're asking for an injury. So let's say you've gone to ChatGPT and you've gotten your workout plan, you've got it all structured out for you, and you're looking at the plan and you're seeing some exercises on there and you're thinking, what the fuck is that? I've never heard of this exercise before. I don't know what I'm supposed to use to do it. I have no idea what it looks like. I don't know where to start. Okay, I got you. This is what I want you to do. Figure out any exercises on that plan that you do not recognize and go to YouTube. Type in the exercise and start watching some videos on how to perform it. There are a lot of really great tutorial videos on YouTube about how to perform exercises in a safe manner. I want you to watch them. Once you've watched them and you have kind of a general idea of what you're supposed to be doing, here are some things you can do to help improve your comfort with it. First of all, if you're going to go and do like an explore session at your gym, find the machine or weights or area or whatever you need to perform that exercise and take some photos or videos of it so you can actually just sit and get familiar with what it is. Secondly, this is something I really like to do when I'm implementing a new exercise that I've never done before, is go during off-peak hours and practice it then. Because honestly, if you're like me, if you are new to the gym, or even if you're like me and you've been going for a really long time and you still struggle with gym anxiety here and there, starting a new exercise can be extremely nerve-wracking. It can be really scary to be doing something new that you're not familiar with and feeling like people are judging you. Even though they're really not, honestly. The gym community is pretty nice. But there's a lot of anxiety about it, right? I get it. I do this. So this is what I do to help calm that anxiety about starting something new, is I will go during off-peak hours when it's really empty in the gym, and I'll practice it then, because there's less people around. So it's less nerve-wracking. And I can't speak to every gym. This is going to vary a little bit based on where you live and what gym you're going to, but I've gone to about 5 or 6 different gyms over the course of my entire fitness journey, whatever you want to call it. And early Sunday morning, like right when the gym opens, or just really early in the morning if it's a 24-hour facility, tends to be the most consistently low traffic time. At least this is what I found. So if you're not sure, if you think that your gym may have a different low traffic period, feel free to just go. Like, spend a week just showing up at random times. Maybe you just go in, look around, and leave. And just get an idea of how busy it is. And pick a time that's not super busy and go practice. Or, if the exercise that you've been given that you're not familiar with is body weight based, practice it at home first until you're comfortable with it. And then you can do it at the gym. The other thing that I want you to do, if you're actually going to stick to this long term, is make it fun. I think there's this misconception that you need to pick the perfect workout, and if you can't just white knuckle through it and grind through it and get it done, that there's something wrong with you. That's not true. That's not true. There's nothing wrong with you if you can't do this really shitty, really hard thing. What you need to do is find a way to transform this really hard thing into a thing that's actually more enjoyable. Because white knuckling through things is all well and good, but that wears off. Your motivation and willpower to do that is going to wear off, and we're not going for small bursts of white knuckling through shitty things. We are going for long-term sustainable action, right? So in order for this to be sustainable over the long term, you actually have to enjoy it to some extent. So if there is some really great, really popular workout that's supposed to burn the most fat and burn the most calories and build all this muscle and do all these great things that you want to do, but you hate it, don't do it. Don't do it. You don't have to do it. It doesn't have to look perfect. I want you to be willing to experiment with things and find the thing that you actually enjoy. Even if it's not what you think the perfect workout is, because if you hate it, you're not going to do it consistently. And consistency, like I said before, is the most important thing. So find something that you actually enjoy, or at least create ways of making it more enjoyable. So examples of how you can do this. Let's say there is a band that you really like to listen to, or a audiobook that you really like to listen to. Make it a rule that you can only listen to it when you're in the gym working out. Find ways to add little bits of enjoyment into the exercise so that it's easier for you to do. You sticking to things long term is not a feat of willpower. It's not about you just having more willpower and white knuckling through it. It's about removing barriers and making it more approachable so that you can more easily stick to it over the long term. The next thing I want you to do, and this may sound like a silly one, but I want you to take progress photos. Post them, don't post them. I don't care what you do with them. Just take them. Every single time you go, take a photo of yourself. Even if we're in those early stages where all you're doing is going and sitting in your car in the parking lot or just going into the gym for a couple minutes and then leaving, take a progress photo of yourself when you do that. Because there is scientific research that shows that people who take progress photos are actually much more likely to be consistent. And I can understand why. It creates this little bit of momentum. You're kind of like it's kind of like creating this little piece of proof for yourself that, hey, I did the thing I said I was going to do, and here's the proof. Amazing. And then over time, you stacked up all these little pieces of proof, and you can look back and say, look at all these days I did this. Look at all these times I showed up. And it reinforces the narrative that you are someone who's consistent and someone who goes to the gym on a regular basis. And it makes it a little fun, honestly. It adds a little element of fun. This is something I found years ago when I started posting fitness content on Instagram. One of the biggest benefits I found was just the fact that consistently taking photos and videos and sharing them motivated me to show up and push myself harder and be a little bit more and be a little better and be there more often. It just made the whole thing feel more fun and more easy. So take progress photos. Even if you do nothing with them, even if you just keep them in a secret folder on your phone and they never see the light of day, just take them, okay? The last piece of advice I have for you is I want you to tell yourself that you belong there. This was the one, and this is still the one that I struggle with a lot, is just not feeling like I belong at the gym. And it's nothing to do with the gym community. It's nothing to do with the gym itself. This is more an inner dialogue of my own. And I think it's one that a lot of us struggle with. Because the gym can feel so intimidating, because it can feel, at least for me, I have found there's been certain periods of time where I've had this narrative that I almost need to earn my place there. And I know I felt like that early on in my fitness journey. I didn't feel like I had the right to be there because I wasn't in shape. I didn't know what I was doing. I hadn't been there consistently. I didn't feel like I belonged. And even now when I am away from the gym for any period of time for something like vacation and then I come back, I still have that little bit of dialogue in my head of like, you don't really belong because you're not consistent. You haven't been here. And that's just not true. That's not true. And I think that there's probably a lot of people who struggle with a similar narrative, and it can be enough to push you to not go because it makes it feel really stressful. And so I want you to just really try and reinforce the narrative that no matter who you are, no matter how often you exercise or whether you haven't exercised in years, no matter what your body looks like, no matter where you're starting from, no matter what you do, no matter how long you're in there, you belong in the gym. You are welcome there. You belong there. You're allowed to take up space there. And you do not need to earn the right to step inside the gym. Everybody's welcome. Everybody's always welcome. Okay? So that's what I've got for you. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. I want your focus for the next few months to be consistency and building comfort. That's all. It doesn't have to be hitting some sort of PR. It doesn't have to be running a marathon. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just focus on showing up consistently and getting a little bit more comfortable. And slowly work your way up from there. It doesn't need to be so complicated, okay? You belong there, and you've got this. You're so capable. You are so, so capable. And I know that this is going to be the year that you stick to this for real, okay? Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll catch you next time. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. If you like the episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a review, or share the show with a friend. Your support helps this show reach even more incredible people just like you. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time at the Mindset Gym.